So yesterday on my Facebook feed, I saw Pewdiepie's Swedish meatballs recipe.
Shut bulak. Oh!
I think he reposted his videos and thank God he did because he reminded me about my recipe for this. But first, we have to try his, right? So I start by cutting the onion, Pewdiepie method, starting with the butts, then in half,
You just peel off the edges.
and peel off the skin. The skin pewds, not the edges. But let's move on. Now to coat him, or hey, better I let him tell you how it's done.
If you're gonna keep the onion in, it adds that flavor. But you don't want the meatballs to have like the onions in it, okay? You want to chop it so small that you're literally just adding the flavor of the onion. Then destroy this goddamn onion. Yeah, this works.
So yeah, we're gonna destroy that goddamn onion like he does. We get a pan, put some butter on it with a metal spatula for some damn reason. But I'm not a savage, so I'm gonna use a wooden spoon, goddammit. Let's add that onion and let it do something until it gets color.
That's it. Then you want to grab a bowl. I don't have a bowl, so I'm using a plate.
I actually have one and I don't have a plate. Now we get the minced or plant-based meat, I guess, and we're gonna need some cream and breadcrumbs. We're gonna add by the eye. If it's too moist, add a little breadcrumbs. If it's too dry, add more cream. Tomato, you know what he means? Get your hands dirty and just mix, add a little pepper and salt in there. Now he forgot to tell us earlier, but we need to boil the potatoes. The problem is that he doesn't want to tell us how. I think this is his actual secret for this recipe. So I'm gonna tell you how to boil potatoes in case you don't know. Add some water in a pot, a little salt and your potatoes that should be cut in the same size. Let them boil until fork tender. Meanwhile, we put some butter in a pan and add the balls to cook it till you get that crisp on them. Don't overcrowd the pan. Now to make the sauce, add the cream in the pan and when it boils add soy sauce in there to get that brown color. I used all my soy sauce and I didn't really achieve that brown color, but it's close enough, right? So 6 balls in a plate, some boiled potatoes, add the sauce on top and the lingonberry jam. Believe me, this is totally lingonberry jam. Let's taste this beautiful plate.
Very nice. That was so good. I'm very pleased. Great meatballs, great life.
That was so good. I'm very pleased. Great meatballs, great life. Okay, now that we had fun with that, let's make my recipe of Swedish meatballs. Take an onion, fight with the skin trying to peel it off. Let it there and get the other half, maybe it's easier. Remove the opposite part of the root, leaving the root intact, and grate your onions using the smaller holes of a grater. Before going further, cut some potatoes in small cubes, add them in a pot with some water just to cover them and a little more. Add some salt and let them boil until a little past fork tender because we need to make puree. Now in a bowl, use a bowl, not a plate. Add the meat. I'm using a mix of pork and beef. You can still use plant-based if you'd like to. Add that onion on top, a really small amount of nutmeg, because this is really strong, but really delicious in there. Some dried thyme, rubbing it between your fingers make it stronger in taste. Garlic powder, paprika, white pepper. We also gonna add 35 grams of breadcrumbs in there and 2 tablespoons of milk. Get in there and get your hands dirty. Be sure you're mixing this really well. Before adding the meatballs, the potatoes should be ready. Add the butter on top of them while on low heat, some salt and a splash of milk. Mash them till you get the nice smooth consistency. You can play with the quantities of the butter and milk to get the consistency you like. Also, if you want it more smooth, put it on a mesh strainer and use a spoon to push it through it. But I think this consistency is great for what we're trying to do here. We're gonna make small balls that are like 20 grams each. Try to make them equal so it can cook in the same amount of time. Now in a pan add some butter and a little oil. When the butter is almost melted, add your meatballs. Don't overcrowd the pan and let them cook until you get that nice dark brown color on them. If you made them bigger, add them in a pan, cover them with parchment paper and put them in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius, fan off for 50-20 minutes more. Now to make the sauce, in the pan we cook the meatballs, add butter and when it melts add your flour. Be sure to mix all the time so you won't get lumps of flour. Cook that for 1-2 minutes at medium heat. Add your veggie stock little by little to incorporate it nicely. If you add it all at once, you risk to have lumps. Also make sure your veggie stock is warm or hot when adding it to the pan. Now it's time to add some heavy cream, 30% plus fat, and cook it slowly for 1 more minute. Add a touch of barbecue sauce in there to give it that nice smoky taste and a nice color. Now this should be done. Take a plate, plop some puree in the middle, add the meatballs, some of that great sauce and a little cranberry jam. Don't forget the green leaves because nice pictures. Okay, these are really delicious and I think this is my favorite recipe to make them. It goes really well with that jam, so you should try it. If you don't like the jam, avoid it, but at least try it once. I have to say thank you Pewds for reminding me of this recipe and I really enjoyed yours too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, subscribe and hit the bell for more as I post every week. See ya next time!